AskReddit by Cody Rody. Which cancelled celebrity were you previously a fan of? This one goes way past cancelled, but I was a big fan of Lost Prophets. Now I just feel shitty when one of their songs pops in my head. I felt bad for the rest of the band. Their lead singer turns out to be an evil pose, and some of those guys, correct me if I'm remembering wrong, but pretty sure at least one of the other guys had a small child and another one was about to. That right there is every parent's nightmare fuel. Someone you spend a lot of time with being potentially around your child and being that brand of evil, forget the professional ramifications. The implication that this person could have had access to my child is terrifying. Don't know if this counts exactly, but Chris Benoit. Dude was one of my childhood heroes. That was an intense couple of days. I remember watching the SmackDown tribute before the details of his death were revealed. There's no way to paint the situation well for him, even as a huge fan of his, but I wasn't surprised to learn he had extensive brain damage from his work. Such a sad and fucked up story. Honestly, it's the celebrities that haven't been cancelled that blow my mind the most. Chris Brown being at the top of my list. Chris Brown is in an interesting place in our culture. His influence is such that he could drag a fan on stage and beat her into a coma, and all the other women would cheer him on because that bitch probably deserved it. And that's how his entire female fan base operates. They'll stand by his every misdeed under the apocalyptic misapprehension that their loyalty can be traded in for sex and money. They'll defend him to the death on the astronomically low but still non-zero chance that they'll be rewarded by being his girl. Cosby, for his stand-up comedy rather than shows he's done. I had 4 or 5 of his records when I was a kid. Jared the Subway guy. We all wished that we could lose weight and get paid millions of dollars to eat Subway sandwiches. If we only knew. This guy had the easiest lottery ticket winning life and fucked it up so bad. Fuck him. Danny Masterson. I loved him in that 70s show and Men at Work. Truly sad when I realized he was a disgusting piece of shit. I never would have guessed. Everyone except Topher Grace from that show has ended up being a disappointment. Kevin Spacey. Fuck Bud. After the allegations came to light, when he released a video response in the character style of the guy from House of Cards, fucking Slimmy. Joss Whedon. Still love his shows, and at the very least he was just an asshole. But he was an asshole. What kills me about Whedon is that he can create these characters and these properties with such a nuanced understanding of different experiences, but take none of that understanding and apply it to the way he comports himself in real life. Deleted. He had so much potential to me, but creepy factor ruined all of it. Chevy Chase. I grew up with him on the TV and never realized what was going on with him. I didn't know about how much of a pose he was until like last year. He is an amazing actor and can really hide how shitty he is on the big screen. Edit to add https://www.reddit.com/r/hobbydrama/s/drsnxxsf. That Reddit post sums up what he was like and what happened. The funny thing about Chevy is I don't think he's been so much societally cancelled as just literally no one in the industry wants to work with him. Not cancelled, but a whole bunch of celebs who signed the Polanski petition have my immense disappointment lol. I know Natalie Portman has publicly apologized for signing it and talked about how she didn't really understand the issue but got immense pressure to sign it along with vague explanations about persecution of Jews or something. I thought that showed some character, despite the excuses, because in reality the signers have faced literally zero backlash and she could easily just have said nothing at all rather than bring attention to herself by apologizing and rescinded her support. Maybe not a mainstream celebrity, but I was a huge fan of Ben Kissel from last podcast on the left until the allegations came out. I was thinking about this and scrolling through. I'm seriously glad that the team follows through with actions, rather than just words. Ryan Haywood, formerly of Achievement Hunter. Loved his sense of humor and his learn by doing approach to games. He was one of my favorites, especially for things like Sky Factory and such. Then news got out that he had been grooming underage fans and sleeping with them during conventions and such. The piece of shit deserved to get canned and blacklisted, but damn, what a disappointment. Didn't expect Rooster Teeth to show up here. But yeah, I'm still mad about that one. Chris D'Elia. Massive pose creep. Ladies and gentlemen, future rapist Chris D'Elia. Kevin Hart, at the Comedy Central roast of Justin Bieber. One of the most brutal introductions I've ever heard. Justin Roiland. I thought he was the brains of Rick and Morty, but it turns he hadn't contributed in years, and he was a monster to work with. He's a great voice actor, but otherwise I guess he was just lucky. The solar opposites dealt with his cancellation in the best way. One joke and done. John Lasseter was a personal hero of mine. Dude was fired from Disney for wanting to push innovation in animation in the 1980s after getting his dream job at Walt Disney Animation. Went on to run all of the animation studios at Disney and lead to a neo-renaissance in Disney animation. They should just keep him locked in the Disney vaults like Hannibal Lecter, and only talk to him when they need ideas. Jeffrey Tambor. Larry Sanders is the best show ever. It was, but I also really liked him in Transparent. Louis C.K. Loved his stand-up and his role in Parks and Rec. He just player himself. Not sure how hard he was cancelled exactly, but he disappeared from my radar after the masturbation incident. Louis was about as big as any comic could be when he got cancelled. He was even being successful fighting against Ticketmaster and scalpers. John Kricfalusi. Used to love Ren and Stimpy but can't watch it now. Straight up pedophile that guy. I can't watch it anymore either. As a British kid. Jimmy Savile. I would have anything back then to be on his lap getting a fixed head medal. Turns out the guy was a fuckskin monster and had so much power that everyone apart from Johnny Rotten, Sex Pistols, was too scared to even hint at it. Winona Ryder. The world demonized her for that shoplifting incident. When looking at things through a rational lens, she was literally just someone going through it who made a stupid but ultimately harmless mistake. Considering how many celebrities have bounced back from worse, it's sad how her career tanked. Her public image had been so squeaky clean, though. And apparently it wasn't a one-off in her case. According to news reports, the shops in Beverly Hills had gotten tired of sending bills to her management team after she'd walked off with merchandise. I miss the old Can I. Straight from the go Can I. Mel Gibson. He's a jerk, but he made a lot of entertaining movies back in the day. It's frustrating because he wasn't just good in stuff before those tapes leaked. Most of the stuff he has done since his fall from grace has also been quite solid, even though the pool of talent willing to work with him is probably much smaller. Most guys who get cancelled find themselves making garbage DVD fare for the remainder of their careers, but Mel seems to have held on to enough goodwill in Hollywood circles to still do decent stuff. I can't believe I'm going to admit this, but young teenage me was definitely on the Colleen Ballinger bandwagon. I stopped watching her after the divorce with Josh because things felt weird and toxic. I hadn't heard about any allegations against her till the awful toxic gossip train incident. Needless to say, I've been fascinated to watch everything unfold this year. I'll never look at a ukulele the same way again. I'm glad someone else commented this. I watched her when I was like 13. I went to one of her live shows, had her book, etc. I think I stopped watching her so much around the time of the divorce too. She was so far off my radar by the time the shit really hit the fan, but damn was it disappointing. Maybe not a celebrity in the traditional sense, but Illuminati Blazon. Absolutely terrible person who built a career on calling out terrible people. Bad idea. Or, her podcast was my go-to homework background noise. I'd heard she was bitchy behind the scenes but didn't expect something of that caliber.